Another massive game that we're all really looking forward to. Number 10 USC at number 21 Notre Dame. This will be on NBC at 7:30 Eastern time on Saturday night. The quarterback matchup is definitely heavily in favor of the Trojans in this one. Sam Hartman has not played elite level football, but he's played pretty good football. And while last week you look at the numbers and the interceptions and obviously the turnovers, last week was one that he'd like to have back. But man, he's made a lot of really good throws. I mean, you think about the touchdown passes, to Jordan Faison for 36 yards, the 25-yard throw to Mitchell Evans on 3rd and 14 with pressure in the backside as he released the throw. Like, he's making good throws, but it hasn't been there consistently for Notre Dame over the last couple weeks. Notre Dame's offense has struggled, man. Now, what I'm trying to figure out, though, have they struggled because of the competition that they're playing against, or have they struggled because they're just not that good? Because there is a clear discrepancy with how they looked against Navy, Tennessee State, NC State, and Central Michigan. NC State, by the way, not a bad defense. There's a clear discrepancy in how they played against those teams where they averaged 46 points and 508 total yards of offense versus how they played against Ohio State, Duke, and Louisville, where they averaged 18 points and 343 total yards of offense. So the other thing that's concerning is that they've really struggled on third down. And they were converting more than half their third downs. Now they're down to 21%. I mean, that is clearly a huge issue. The good news is you have had some stars emerge. And while I've been somewhat disappointed with the wide receiver core from top to bottom, that was a big point of contention coming into the season, I do think they've found a star in Mitchell Evans. Now, this is almost sacrilegious to say this, but Mitchell Evans is a longer version of Michael Mayer. They're very, very similar. And I actually think Mitchell Evans' athleticism is in some ways superior to Michael Mayer. Now, is he ever going to be the consistent force that Michael Mayer was? I don't know. But if you look at him, I mean, he can kind of weave his way through traffic. He seems to find a way to go up and snatch the ball out of the air. He can run guys over. And there's a lot to like about what we've seen from Mitchell Evans up to this point. So I think he's going to be huge in this game because I don't think that there's a defender on USC's defense that will be able to handle Mitchell Evans in a one-on-one situation. And if for whatever reason they had to put a lot of attention on Mitchell Evans, hey, yeah, don't forget about me. I'm Holden Stays. I'm really athletic as well. And while I was underutilized last week, I would imagine him being a big part of the plan for Notre Dame moving forward because they got to get more out of Holden Stays. He's a dynamic weapon. Mitchell Evans has emerged as your go-to guy without question. I get that, but do not forget about the number 2 tight end who is equally capable with the ball in his hands. Is this a get-right situation for Notre Dame? Now, if you look at what USC has done, they've done a really good job generating pressure. I mean, they have, I think, actually been much better on the defensive side of the football this year as far as generating pressure. And it's a good starting point, right? That's a good starting. If you can apply pressure on the opposing quarterback, that's a great place to start. Bear Alexander has had his moments. Obviously, the transfer from Georgia, Jamil Muhammad, Solomon Byrd have been pretty good coming off the edge. I like what I've seen from the pressure numbers, but here's the problem for USC, Can't make that mistake. Here's the problem for USC is that they seem to be getting worse from a tackling standpoint. Maybe part of that has to do with the fact that the level of competition has improved the last couple of weeks. But you look at the first week, few missed tackles here or there. Look at the second week, few more. Look at the third week, a bunch. Fourth week, a whole lot. And then the last 2 weeks, it's like, goodness gracious alive. Are you trying to tackle them? It's pretty remarkable just how they've regressed because usually it's very much the opposite. Week 1, sloppy as can be when it comes to tackling. Week 2, it gets a little better, a little better, a little better. So as the season goes along, you get better on that side of the ball, getting ball carriers to the ground. And that has not been the case for the USC defense. They have to tackle in this one because while Notre Dame is not crazy explosive, they do have some powerful players that are good with the ball in their hands. Can USC continue to create a lot offensively? The answer is yes. I think USC, no matter when they play the game, where they play the game, how they play the game, they're going to roll out and they're going to score close to 30. Doesn't matter how good the defense is. And I think Notre Dame's defense is pretty fine. Now, if you look at how they played last week, I thought it was arguably the worst performance from Notre Dame's defense to date. They had terrible tackling, I think. By their standards, you had Leah Fowl, for instance, had the face mask penalty, on the 3rd and 15. That was a killer. So I would say that Notre Dame's defense, while last week was not a good indicator of future success, I do think this is without question the toughest test to date for USC's offense. Caleb Williams is amazing. He is amazing and has done such a great job developing a rapport with his wide receivers. Now, it'd be great if Zachariah Branch could get back, because I think Zachariah Branch is the college football version of Tyreek Hill. Just get him the ball and watch what he does with it. So if he's back, that is a huge boost to the USC offense, because I would imagine USC is going to try to make sure that Caleb Williams continues to try to make plays with his legs and continues to try to extend plays. That's when the big plays have happened for them up to this point. And if I'm Notre Dame, I want to keep him bottled up. I want to press the pocket. I want to collapse the pocket and make him uncomfortable and make him play from a traditional passing posture. If they can do that, then they might be able to slow them down. I'm not saying that they're still going to score 30 to win, but they might be able to slow them down just enough. A couple trends in this one. All 5 of USC's games against AP-ranked opponents since last year have gone over the total. USC is, however, 2-8 against the spread when the line's between -3 and +3 since 2016, and they're 7-17 against the spread as an underdog since the start of the 2015 season. I like Notre Dame in this game. I have not been impressed with what I've seen from USC up to this point. I think that there are aspects of their defense that have improved, but I also don't think they've played anybody. No disrespect to Colorado, no disrespect to Arizona, no disrespect to Stanford, no disrespect to San Jose State. I don't think they've played anybody. At least Notre Dame, on the heels of what's been a brutal 4-game stand against Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, and now USC, I do think they are battle-tested. This group is weathered. And anytime I can get a team that does have some talent, and I know people might disagree with this, I think Notre Dame is well coached. I got a team with some talent that's well coached with their back against the wall in a desperate gotta-have-it situation. I like their chances. We all know that Caleb Williams' Heisman moment came against Notre Dame last year. I would imagine the Irish have had this one circled for the better part of the last 52 weeks.